Hey guys, kind of giving a quick video on the Alabama Michigan game. Um, what I think possibilities of what could happen. Um, Obviously, what I say is definitely opinion. Um, but I mean, I'm gonna have it based on some facts, on stats and whatnot. And yeah, so first off, has Alabama ever played Michigan? And yeah, they have a record of 3 wins and 1 tie. Um, there was a time that that Michigan had beaten Alabama, but that win was vacated. So their official record is 3 wins and 1 tie for Alabama. So there's the historicness of that. Um, Alabama has their player stats. The passing yards from Milroy is 2,718. His passing has really developed quite well. Um, that is with him being gone for a game when they were trying to figure out their quarterback situation at the beginning of the year, and also those few games that he was really not doing well at the beginning of the start. Um, I do think it's rather hilarious how people keep referencing the beginning of the season, how bad he was in those games, and trying to say that's how he is now. Very, very clearly, Alabama has progressed throughout the season. Um, I would argue as one of the most progressing teams in college football this year. It's really been a night and day scenario. Um, Alabama for the first 4 or 5 games, wasn't exactly sure what kind of quarterback situation they were really in. They kept moving around different players, starting the second string, third string. They really tried a bunch of different things, and eventually they went back to Milroy. So, yeah, they the stats for him is you could probably boost it up for that on the passing yards and whatnot. Um, but even with that, comparing it to Michigan, J.J. McCarthy, 2,630 passing yards. Alabama has a very good chance that they are going to be passing the ball, mainly running. Um, but they do have the offensive weapons to pass if needed, which is how they open up the run game as well. So, I mean, I don't know. Looking at the stats, it's really like I would say Michigan runs the ball way more because uh, Chase Killian, although I don't know if he'll be in, but I think he got injured. He had 803 yards. So their new running back is Williams. He has 58 yards for 11 receptions, averages 5.3 yards, and his longest was 26, and has a touchdown. And Jam Miller, that did I look at the wrong guy? I had it wrong guy. Alright, Jam Miller is actually 3 receiving yards, 71 yards, 23.7, and 35. So he actually really hasn't had too much on the receiving end, but carries he has 40, 190 yards, averages about 4.8. That sounds right. Longest was a 45-yard run and a touchdown. So definitely, yeah, that's kind of something that it's interesting to me they had to put him in a little bit more than before, but he definitely did very well in the SEC championship. Blake Cornum of Michigan has 1,028 yards of rushing. Very impressive. Michigan does a very good job of using their running back for sure. Receiving yards, Roman Wilson, a wide receiver, has 662 from Michigan. And Alabama's Jermaine Burton has 777 yards, receiving yards. Tackles for Alabama, Caleb Downs. And then there's 99 tackles for Michigan, 79 for Junior Colson. Interceptions, 5. Mike Santis-Trisky, defensive back from Michigan. And defensive back Teron Arnold for Alabama has 5. So, I mean, stat-wise, everything looks relatively similar. The one thing, and when I talked to you guys about the FSU whole debacle, I looked at the stats. And that's the thing, is Alabama's tackles is just insane. 99. Florida State, what people were saying, Florida State has a really, really, really good defense. And they have a good defense for sure. But it's just, the tackles are just, it was way ahead. I think it was 75 was for Florida State. And Alabama's just way ahead. My goodness. But yeah, I think with Michigan, they have a great line. It's going to be interesting because it seems, at least from what I look at, it looks to me as if it's going to be better for Michigan if it's a close game. So if it's within a touchdown or so, it'll be better. It would be best for Michigan, I think, if they get out ahead quickly and fast. I think that's really where Michigan can have a little bit of breathing room and then be able to play their game if it comes down to that. But for Alabama, it's really just staying calm. Alabama has proven that they can pull away and keep a lead, or if they lose the lead, they can make it back. I don't think there's enough credit given with the Auburn game, which is how poised the QB was. Because Miller, it was 4th and 31, and he stayed calm, and I'm sure majority of the quarterbacks in college football would have overthought or even just completely folded in a kind of pressure like that, especially a rivalry game. And that's the other part, is for rivalry games, sometimes there's teams that just don't play well, and when it hits the rivalry, they hit on all cylinders. They're really going completely out. They're throwing anything they can. And a lot of times, even those teams that you should be able to easily beat will be a struggle. And I felt like that was a great test for Alabama, and it was perfect right before the SEC championship. And I think that the success from the SEC championship was really piggybacked on that Auburn game, which showed a lot of proof in how resilient these players are. Michigan, their best win is Ohio State. And if we look at Alabama's best win is Georgia, but they've played Texas, they've played Ole Miss, they played a whole bunch of ranked teams, so they have much more exposure to competitiveness. Um, when looking at Michigan, um, it goes to. Oh, here we go. Took a little while for it to load. I mean, you're looking at. So they played Iowa, which wasn't even much of a game, 26-0. Ohio State, they had a very impressive win, 30-24. But yeah, I mean, Penn State's the next one, which was 24-15. That was a close game. I'm really surprised by that. Wow. But all the other games they played were pretty much blowouts and against unranked teams. So they've only played two ranked opponents and then one ranked opponent for the championship. And it was 10-2 and 16. So when we look at that, it's really not even that much of a comparison. That's what really gives it kind of like, obviously, like, I'm gonna definitely be rooting for Alabama. I think Alabama's got it, and I think that Alabama has played tougher teams. The problem is that you won't really know until the game is played. But you don't see the height of Michigan. If the height of Michigan was that Ohio State game, I think they might be in trouble. But yeah, most of their season has just been easy teams. So it's going to be interesting, definitely. Like I said, I think Alabama will win. If Alabama gets out to an early start, an early lead, that might be it. That's really, as a Bama fan, that's what I'm looking towards. I'm hoping that Alabama gets to a great start. If I'm a Michigan fan, that's everything I don't want to have happen. Because if Alabama plays their game from the start and Michigan just cannot keep up, they're winded, I don't know if they're going to be able to come back. We haven't really seen that. That's the thing, is that they've been really pretty much ahead majority of the time. So I think if they're losing, that's going to be the real test that they haven't really faced this year. And I think really it comes down to, have they hit every type of test? And Alabama has, but Michigan has not. So I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be fun. I hope that it's not a complete blowout, like Alabama wins, is like winning at halftime 21-0 or something like that. But that could happen. I doubt it, but it's the same thing like with last year. Didn't know how they would do against TCU, and TCU took it to them. It was insane. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but that's my thoughts on it. Definitely excited to go to the game. It'll be fun to see what the playoff atmosphere is like. Um, I've only seen Alabama one other time, and that was also at Pasadena when they were playing UCLA years and years and years ago, and back in like 2000 and I think it was 2001, 2004, something like that. Um, but yeah, this will be fun, a lot of fun. Um, so yeah, have a great day. Bye.